Good morning, church. We're so glad that you're here with us today. Let's take a few minutes and just greet the people that are around you. Just take a few minutes to greet the people that are around you. Maybe meet someone that you haven't met before. All right, stand with us and we're going to sing a few songs to get started. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, man on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you've got. There's honey in the rock. Praying for a miracle, thirsty for the living well. Only you can satisfy. Sweetness at the mercy seat. Now I've tasted, it's not hard to see. Only you can satisfy. There's honey in the rock. 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 Freedom where the Spirit is. Bounty in the wilderness. You will always satisfy. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, man on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you got. There's honey in the rock, purpose in your plan, power in the blood, and healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Everything you did's enough. I keep looking, I keep finding. You keep giving, keep providing. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I keep praying, you keep moving. I keep praising, you keep proving. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I keep looking, I keep finding. You keep giving, keep providing. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I keep praying, you keep moving. I keep praising, you keep proving. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. Yes, I have all that I need. You are all that I need. Yeah. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, man on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you've got. There's honey in the rock, purpose in your plan, power in the blood, and healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Jesus, who you are is enough. There's honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock. There's stormy gale. My anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. He is Lord, Lord of all. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When He shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, faultless stand before the throne. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all.
Continue to stand with us. We're going to sing a couple more songs.
Your mercy never fails me. crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. In the crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. You are breaking new ground. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old place to carry your new fire today. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old place to carry your new fire today. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me.
Test. I think there's audio to that, but all right, can everyone hear me? All right, if you'll repeat after me, how happy is everyone that fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. Good morning, everyone. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, my name is Stephen. I'm a deacon here at Oakview. Our motto here at Oakview is we exist to see people follow Jesus so that families can flourish for the glory of God for generations to come. And that actually reminds me, we have Mr. and Mr. Hall just celebrated 63 years. Congratulations. But that's our greatest desire here, is to see people follow Jesus and flourish, to grow in their faith, to grow in their understanding. To that end, for the last several weeks, we have been looking at Romans 8, trying to wrap our heads around it, understand it. Now, our message today is going to be sort of a follow-up to that. We're going to focus on the simplicity of faith. Because Romans 8 is arguably one of the most theologically packed chapters in all of Scripture. And as awesome as it is, and great to study and good to know, it can be a little bit heady at times. Paul was a scholar, and that's not just saying he was a smart guy. He was actually trained in how to think and write and debate academically. He's born in Tarsus, one of the centers of Greek culture and philosophy. And it's not stated, but most of his work shows that he, at some point, had studied Stoic philosophy and the Hellenistic greats, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. But then he goes on to be trained by one of the greatest Jewish rabbis at the time in how to be a Jewish rabbi. His rabbi's name was Gamaliel. He's one of the Sanhedrin. And he was so esteemed they gave him the title of the Rabban, which is a fancy way of saying even rabbis who didn't like him and disagreed with him would call him master. Paul is no academic pushover. He has the backing and credentials of both sides, Jew and Gentile. And in Romans, he's writing to the city of Rome, which at the time is filled with people who have a certain level of pride in their worldly wisdom and in their knowledge and in their academic studies. So it's not a big surprise that when he writes Romans, it comes out academic. Let me give you a really quick example here. Romans 2, it's the second chapter in Romans. The entire chapter is 29 verses long. It's a great chapter, good points, great examples. It's got logical proofs and everything Paul is really, really good at. But, and admittedly this is an oversimplification, in summary, Romans 2 says, Jews, you're not special because you're Jewish. God owes you nothing for being Jewish. In fact, you owe him for the honor he bestowed on you. Jews were special because they were chosen to represent God and know him. Do not be hypocrites and judge others while you yourself are acting wickedly. God will judge you just as harshly or even more so than those Gentiles because they can claim ignorance and you know better. And that's the entire chapter boiled down to roughly 4 sentences. Most of the chapter, and this is typical for a lot of Paul's writings, are filled with great examples, logical proofs, defining his terms, debate topics, keywords. He's doing things that you learn how to do in a formal logic class. So when I was given the opportunity to cover this week, I thought it would help to see some of what Romans is saying in a much simpler light through the lens of a story instead of a logical argument. So the structure might be a little bit different than a typical sermon, but I think seeing this through the lens of a story and thinking through the story and what we're seeing might actually help us see what Romans is saying and what it actually looks like in an application. So we're going to start with some words from Jesus. It's always a wise place to begin. We're going to be in Luke 4:16. To set the scene a little bit, if you wanted to flip there, it's useful to know what's going on. Jesus has just began his ministry. He has began healing the sick. He's began performing miracles. He's began casting out demons. He's began teaching in different synagogues. And very quickly, he is becoming very, very popular. And then he returns to Nazareth, his hometown. Remember, he was born in Bethlehem because of the census being called. But then he flees to Egypt with his family, and after a short while, they come back and they live in Nazareth, where he's actually raised. So that's why Nazareth is his hometown, but he was born in Bethlehem. Now, Nazareth is not a big town. I found one study that said throughout most of Israel's history to this point, it's probably 200 to 300 people. It is a very, very small town. And it's not really known for much of anything other than the saying, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Because it's remained small and insignificant throughout all of Israel's history. It has never really done anything to contribute in any meaningful way. It never got any attention. So the way the churches or the synagogues worked back then, services were much more focused on reading of Scripture, largely because they didn't have the availability of books. Writing was very rare. In fact, the synagogues didn't even usually have a full copy of what we would consider the Old Testament. They would have the 5 books of Moses and then a scattering of random scrolls that synagogues would pass around to each other so that they could read the rest of it. Often the local synagogue leader would act like we think of a pastor. He would be selected to sit in the middle of the room, read Scripture loudly, and then after he had read, he would give a little lesson or a teaching based on that Scripture, usually quotes from other rabbis. However, if a traveling rabbi was in town, he would often be given the opportunity to take that seat. And this way, everyone would get the chance to hear the voice of a new rabbi. They would get to hear teachings that might come from a different view than they normally get. They'd get an alternate view and alternate teachings. So this is the setup for where we're starting. Jesus is returning to his hometown in Nazareth. We'll start on verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as was his custom, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it is written. Just pause for a second. So everything so far is normal. He came home. He's recognized as a rabbi, so the local synagogues gives him the opportunity. Here's a scroll. You get the chance to read and to teach. And he opens the scroll. They hand him Isaiah. He opens it, and he goes to a very particular place. So we'll pick back up, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And he rolled up the scroll and gave it back to the attendant and sat down, and the eyes of all in the synagogue were fixed on him. Okay, so he read from Isaiah, but things were a little bit off. He went to a very particular spot, and he read a very, very small section, but it's also a very famous section. It's well known. It's a messianic prophecy, but he messes up the quote. He's reading, and then he actually jumps mid-quote to a different section, and he reads a little, and he stops before he gets to the judgment of the Lord on either one. It's a little odd, and it's something that at least some of them probably caught because it's a well-known section. So now he sits down, everyone is waiting because they've heard the stories. This man's different. This man does miracles. This man has shown great wisdom in all of these other towns. What's he going to say? What's he going to do? And they're all focused on him waiting. He began to say to them, "Today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." And all spoke well of him and marveled at the gracious words that were coming from his mouth. And they said, "Is not this Joseph's son?" So pause again. What just happened? He didn't quote a rabbi. He didn't give any fancy teaching. Instead, he proclaims that this prophecy has now been fulfilled. Like I said, this was a well-known section of Isaiah. They knew this prophecy. This was about the Messiah coming. And the section that he pieces two chapters together The other part he came from is also about God stepping in and delivering his people and granting sight to the blind. And he is very openly declaring he's the Messiah. And then it says, all spoke well of him and marveled at his gracious words that were coming from his mouth. Why did they speak well of him? What were his gracious words? Normally, when we hear gracious, we're thinking it's because they gave us a gift or they did something for us they didn't have to do, or they're being generous towards us somehow. What about his words were gracious to them? What did he give them? And then they said, is not this Joseph's son? And we start to see the focus of their thinking. Isn't this great? He's the Messiah, and he's one of us. He's the biggest thing there is. He's the next Moses. He's what every Jew has been waiting for throughout all of our history, and he's one of us. We don't have to live in a little run-down town anymore. We don't have to have hard lives anymore. We don't have to be nothing anymore. He's one of us. We're going to be great. He's going to do the miracles. He's going to heal us. And because he's one of us, we're going to get known, and we're going to be taken care of, and we're going to get all this stuff. And if they were thinking right, if they were thinking these because they honestly wanted Messiah and everything that was promised for all of Israel, and if it wasn't selfishly focused, they could be true. But Jesus hears what they're saying, and he knows what's going on. And he steps in to correct them. Verse 23. He said to them, doubtless you will quote to me this proverb, physician, heal yourself. What we have heard you did at Capernaum, do here in your hometown as well. And he said, truly I say to you, no prophet is acceptable in his hometown. So right away he brings up, now you're going to ask me to do miracles and wonders here. And you're going to use this being my hometown as evidence that I should do it. But no prophet is acceptable in his hometown. Why does he say this? What's he getting at? His point is that because they feel like they know him, they expect the miracles. It's a given. God's going to do these things for us. Many times when people received miracles from Jesus, he'll actually tell them explicitly, your faith has healed you. Or sometimes he'll point to the act of faith that brought about the change. These miracles came to people because they demonstrated a believing faith in God. They had stepped out in faith. Think of the woman with the constant bleeding. It's in Luke 8 and several of the other Gospels. She shouldn't be there. She's unclean. If she had been wrong, the crowd could have possibly stoned her for what she did. But she acted in faith of who she believed Jesus was. If only I can touch the corner of his garment. She's actually putting her faith in a quote from Scripture, Malachi 4:2. It's promising that the Messiah has faith in his wings, and the word for wings also gets translated the corners of your garment. She has absolute faith. This is him, if I can just get there. Many people were pressing in on him with problems. Remember the story, how packed it was? Everyone's pressing on him. They didn't get healed. She did. She was pressing in, yes, because she wanted healing, but she was also pressing in because she wanted Messiah. Beyond seeing just herself, she wanted all the stuff that was promised from God. She wanted all the stuff that Messiah was. If only I can reach him. Everything will be right if only I can reach him. Everything will be fixed. I'll be healed. Everything will be set right if only I can just touch him. And she believed it was him so much that she put her life on the line to get out there and reach him. But these people feel like they know him. They don't consider him Messiah. They don't really see him in that light. They just see a guy who can do great stuff. Surely he'll do the great stuff for them. So Jesus goes on to tell them, "But in truth, I tell you, there were many widows in Israel in the days of Elijah, when the heavens were shut up 3 years and 6 months. And a great famine came over the land. And Elijah was sent to none of them, but only to Zarephath in the land of Sidon, to a woman who was a widow. There were many lepers in Israel in the time of the prophet Elisha, and none of them was cleansed, but only Naaman the Syrian." He gives them two very well-known, great miracles out of the Old Testament. But the point is not that God can do the miracles. He is pointing to the fact that, don't you remember these two stories? There were a lot of Jews around when these happened. But God didn't do these for any of the Jews. He went outside the Jews. Why? He's giving them these examples to try to get them to think, why? Why has this happened? What was different about these two? Because these Gentiles demonstrated faith. They had faith that Israel was lacking at the time. Just like Nazareth is lacking faith that all these other towns are demonstrating at the time. So verse 28, "When they had heard these things, all in the synagogue were filled with wrath, and they rose up and drove him out of town and brought him to the brow of the hill on which the town was built, so they could throw him down the cliff. But passing through their midst, he went away." So they get furious. They felt like they deserved what was coming. They felt like they were entitled to the miracles and the being taken care of. The Messiah came from them, by the way. The Messiah is one of us. Surely, if he's going to be doing miracles, he'll do them here. And when he says these things are tied to faith and you don't have it, they're furious. They go to kill him. Remember that summary I gave about Romans 2? This is that. Don't think you're special just because of your ancestors. You were given a special task to live in faith to God. The action of living in faith is what makes you special. But you started to expect or assume God's blessings. You stopped living in faith, and because of that, you're worse off than the others because you know better. So that's Jesus referencing these two stories about how faith works, how God's will works, where God is moving. So I want to focus in on Naaman a little bit. One of the references here, it's in 2 Kings 5, because this to me is such an awesome picture of how simple faith is. We often turn it into so many extra things. We start off pretty good. And then the more we are leaning in, the more we like to add on to what we consider faith to be. So starting from the beginning, Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and in high favor, because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. Now the Syrians, on one of their raids, had carried off a little girl from the land of Israel. She worked in the service of Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "Would that my Lord were with the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." So Naaman went in and told his Lord, "Thus and so spoke the girl from the land of Israel." And the king of Syria said, "Go now, and I will send a letter to the king of Israel." All right, so pause. So Naaman is a Gentile. He's in Syria. There's not a real Jewish population here. There's not synagogues going on. There's no people studying the Torah. There's slaves, and that's it. It says in a raid, so these people were raiding Jewish lands. It's not even like they were friendly or allies with the Jews. But in a raid, they had captured a young Jewish girl who was taken as a slave for Naaman's wife. And we're not given the particulars of the situation, but I imagine this little girl is overhearing maybe Naaman's wife, being upset because Naaman has this leprosy and no one can cure it. And I love the childlike faith from this little slave who's just like, it's a shame he's not in Israel. Our God take care of it. It's just matter of fact. But it sparks something. So Naaman's wife tells Naaman. Naaman goes to tell the king. The king says, you know what? I will give you a royal letter so that you can go ask the king of Israel. We'll get this taken care of. Back to verse 5. So he went, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, which read, when this letter reaches you, know that I have sent to you Naaman, my servant, that you may cure him of his leprosy. When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes and said, am I God to kill and make alive? That this man sends word to me to cure a man of his leprosy? Only consider and see that he is seeking a quarrel with me. So Naaman has went with quite a haul. Lots of treasures, lots of extras. He's expecting to have to pay for healing his leprosy, and obviously it's leprosy and no one else can cure it, so he's expecting to pay a lot. Here you start to see the situation of Israel's faith at the time. We have a foreign king who sent a foreign general into Israel to say, we hear that your God can cure this. Our God can't. Can you take care of this for us? And the king of Israel looks at Naaman and doesn't think it's going to happen. He doesn't consider the prophet in the land. He doesn't consider going to the priests. He doesn't try to find any way to bring this to God. He only sees something he can't do. And if you listen to his wording, that's what it is. He says, who am I to cure this man's leprosy? He sees something he can't do, and that's the end of his faith. Verse 8. But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes, he sent to the king, saying, why have you torn your clothes? Let him come now to me, that he may know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came on his horse and the chariots and stood at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to meet him, saying, go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored, and you shall be clean. All right, pause. So Elisha gets word of what's going on. Apparently the word's getting out that the king is super upset and this foreign general is waiting to get cured from leprosy. Elisha hears word, and he sends notice to the king, and he says, what are you doing? Did you forget God is in our land? Why don't you send him over here so he can see God at work? So the king sends Naaman on. Naaman goes with all of his entourage and all the treasures, all the stuff that he brought. He goes to see Elisha. And Elisha doesn't even come to meet him. He gets there, and apparently a servant comes up to the door and just says, Elisha says, go and wash yourself in the Jordan 7 times, and you will be cleansed. And that's it. Apparently he shuts the door. So verse 11, but Naaman was angry and went away, saying, behold, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call upon the name of the Lord his God and wave his hands over the place and cure the leper. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters in Israel? Could I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. So Naaman gets angry. Came all this way. I want this great miracle. I came to see Elisha. He doesn't even come out to see me. He just has a messenger come out, and there's nothing going on. He just gives me this note that says, go wash in the Jordan 7 times and you'll be fine. This guy isn't following any of the rules of religion that Naaman is used to. He doesn't come out with a bunch of pomp. He doesn't put on a big show. He's not out there waving his arms around in the sky, acting like it's a big deal. He's not yelling things. What's going on? That's what Naaman's used to. This doesn't make any sense. The thing that he got asked to do doesn't make any sense. Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. The Jordan is known for being a yucky, muddy river. That's why he says, surely I could have washed in the clean rivers back in my homeland. If washing in a river could fix this, I'd be fixed. Why do I want to go into this muddy river? And he goes to storm off. But verse 13, but his servants came near and said to him, my father, it is a great word the prophet has spoken to you. Will you not do it? Has he actually said to you, wash and be clean? So he went down and dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the word of the man of God. And his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. So Naaman is angry. He goes to storm off, but his servants stop him. Apparently they've got the cooler heads. And his servants remind him, didn't he tell you exactly what you wanted to hear? Wasn't this actually good news? You came here to get cleansed. He said, do this and you'll be cleansed. I know it didn't come in the way you thought it would, and he didn't use the words you thought he should use, but he did say if you do it, you'll be cleansed, right? Why? We came all this way. Why don't we just do it? They talk Naaman into doing it. So they go to the river. He dips himself 7 times. He's instantly cleansed. We get to see his response now. It's easy to look at this moment of Naaman's frustration and say that that was Naaman's doubt. But remember the background. That may not have been what he expected, but this is a Gentile general from a Gentile nation that doesn't know anything really about the God of Israel other than it exists. The gods in his country, the healers in his country, couldn't get rid of the leprosy. Think about having the courage to go to your king and say, hey, king, our gods can't do this. Can I go to that country and try their God? That's treason in that day. He's already put some faith on display just to get this far. Just to work up the courage to ask, can I try this? Can I go check out what this Israel God's about? So he gets angry because he's expecting things like he's used to, and that's not happening. But he's already put a lot of faith into just coming to ask the question, just being here. The thing that gets asked for him to dip himself in the water 7 times in this river, like he said, if it was about cleansing himself in a river, there's cleaner rivers everywhere else. The point of the request isn't about the river or what it is. The point of the request is, here's something that makes absolutely no sense if it's not about God. If you're not just doing it for faith. You don't accidentally fall and bathe yourself 7 times in a river back to back. The point of the request is just, you're doing this for me and no other reason. Now look at his response, verse 15. Then he returned to the man of God, he and all of his company, and he came and stood before him, and he said, behold, I know that there is no God in all of the earth but in Israel. So accept now a present from your servant. But he said, as the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. There's a bunch of he's there, but basically this is Naaman and Elisha. Naaman is trying to pay. Take all I brought all this stuff, take it. And Elisha's like, no, I'm not going to take anything from you. And they go back and forth a little bit. But look at the recognition. Naaman's not Jewish. He'd probably be considered an enemy of the Jews. Not just any enemy, he's a leader of the enemy of the Jews. He is acknowledging, hey, Elisha, I didn't know this before. Your God is superior to anything I've seen before. Again, think of he's got his people around him. Surely someone's going to tell the king, you know what he said? Their God's better than us, better than our God, better than what we do. But he says, your God, now I see it. This God is different. There's no God like your God. Your God doesn't put on airs. Your God doesn't demand things ahead of time. Your God doesn't demand all the pomp and all the showiness. Your God doesn't even take compensation for the things he does. What's even stranger, your God doesn't even turn me away. I'm not his. I'm not from here. But your God just sees me in a struggle, and I'm willing to do what he says, and he responds. No God is like this. Naaman is doing what Romans 10 talks about. He is confessing with his lips. But that's not all Romans 10 says. So let's keep going. Verse 17. Then Naaman said, if not, please let there be given to your servant 2 mule loads of earth, for from now on your servant will not offer burnt offering or sacrifice to any god but the Lord. In this matter may the Lord pardon your servant. When my master goes into the house of Rimmon to worship, there leaning on my arm, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, when I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon your servant in this matter. And he said to him, go in peace. So Naaman recognizes who the God of Israel is. This is a different God. This is something better. This is above all the things that I know. And then in that recognition, he says, if that's true, I need to make a change. I probably shouldn't worship these other gods anymore. I don't need to be making sacrifices to these other things. I need to make sacrifices to the right God. This is the one that I want to offer to. This is the one that I want to follow. He asked for 2 loads of earth so he can build an altar to this God at home. Now, why he asked for dirt is a whole sidebar about how ancient civilizations saw the gods of a nation sort of tied to the land of that nation. So it wouldn't be proper to build an altar to the God of Israel on land that's under the God of Syria in their mind. So that's why he asks for these, give me 2 loadfuls of dirt. I want to take it home and build a proper altar to the God of Israel there. And Naaman goes on to ask for some advice. He says, part of my job as the general, sometimes when I'm with the king, he goes into these temples of another god. And he's a little older, and when he's there, I have to hold him, and I help him when he kneels down and hold on to him and help him get back up. When I do this, and I have to bend down in this other temple, can you ask your God to forgive me? Because I'm not doing it out of worship. I want him to know this is just my duty, and I kind of have to do it because of my position, but I want him to know that's not worship. And Elisha just says, go in peace. God gets it. He knows. He knows your heart. This is the follow-up to confessing with your lips. He is now believing in his heart. This is something that gets lost on us sometimes because of language differences. We believe things academically. We have facts, and we know them, and so I believe it. To them, belief and action are tied together. Now, this is still true for us, but we've dumbed down the words so much that they don't really mean it when we say it. So let me give you an example. If I say, I believe my paycheck is deposited in the bank, if then I need to go check my bank before I swipe my card, I didn't believe that my paycheck was in the bank. I hoped my paycheck was in the bank. If I say I believe my wife is faithful, well, that's great, but if I feel the need to go check her phone, I didn't believe, I hoped. If I say I believe that God is the way, the truth, and the life, and I have made him the Lord of my life, do I believe it when I actually have to act, or do I act some other way? For example, he says he wants me to forgive even my enemies. But the world expects and even says I'm right to go ahead and expect revenge. Do I go with that, or do I do what he says? It says, do not steal, trust me to provide. But it's tax season, and no one's going to know, and I could use a little extra money. Do I do what he says, or what's better for me? Or more publicly, this is one I know most Christians struggle with, he says, be ready to give an answer to any man who would ask about the hope in you. And I'm not talking about somebody who comes along and says something mockingly about being Christian or says something in passing. I'm talking about a moment where somebody you know honestly comes to you with an honest question about Christianity. A moment of, does the Bible really teach this? Or does prayer even work? Should I try this? I'm in a spot. And they're honestly looking to you. What do I do? I don't know this God stuff. Can you help me? And you have the chance to represent God. Show them a little bit of who he is. Teach them how to take those steps themselves. But we shrink back. I know I've done it before. We look for ways to change the subject or ways to direct them to somebody else for the answer, or we give them the nervous, I'm not really sure, I'll have to look, and we don't ever intend to get back with them because it makes us uncomfortable. We see Naaman declaring not just who God is, but the fact that he's going to make some changes. Here's what I believe to be true. If that's true, I got to change some stuff. So here's the question. We're usually pretty good with this concept, at least at the moment of conversion, at those early stages of faith. We're good with this. But we have a tendency as time passes to start adding things to what it looks like. So let me ask a few questions. Do you think Naaman went home and started attending synagogue? Probably wasn't any synagogues in his home. Couple slaves, no one studying Torah, no synagogues. If Jesus points to him as this example of faith, but he doesn't go to synagogue, how could that be? Well, maybe salvation's not tied up in your church attendance. Don't get me wrong, we have access to church. He probably didn't. We are called to fellowship together. But the reason we go to church is to fellowship with other Christians, to have our faith bolstered by the Word. We go to church to learn how to represent God to the world that's outside this church. Don't be the guy on Sunday that sees a widow with a flat tire and it's like, I wish I had time to help, but I've got to go learn how to represent God better. You just missed your chance. Do you think Naaman converted to Judaism and started offering sacrifices at the temple and following the law properly? Probably not. He may not even know how to read. There's no synagogues. There's no one there to teach him these things. He's this example of faith, but there's nothing to point to say, look, he's following the steps. Well, maybe salvation isn't about following a set series of steps. Paul makes this argument very clearly. He talks about how good the law is. The law is good. The law is righteous. It is perfect. It's a great thing. We should strive for it. But that's not what saved us. And he uses Abraham as his example. Abraham was saved by his faith before the law ever existed. Do you think Naaman went home and started becoming a Torah scholar? Again, he probably didn't know how to read. No synagogues to teach him. No Torah scholars to have, private lessons or anything. He probably didn't go home and study all that much. Maybe your faith is not tied to academic knowledge. study's good, just like the law. We're told, especially since we have access to it, we have books in our houses, and there's not a lot of excuse for us to not try to know God better. But sometimes we'll cross a wire and we make that part of salvation. And because I don't have all the right answers, I'm not saved yet, or maybe I'm not saved because I don't understand this, or it's not that. It was the faith in the first place. Satan has wonderful book knowledge, probably more than anyone alive, I would imagine. Book knowledge is not going to give you believing loyalty. That believing loyalty is how that knowledge is applied. Lots of people read the Bible all the time and take nothing from it. They get nothing out of it. They change nothing about how they think, what they do, how they act. But a believing faith is someone who reads this and says, okay, this is the Word of God, so I should probably pay attention. And I certainly don't do that. I probably need to change some things. And he says I should try to be this way, so I should probably try to change some things. So it's not about being Jewish or being Christian, born Christian in our case. Although there's benefits to that. It's a wonderful thing to be raised in a Christian household with Christian parents who get to teach you early. There are benefits to these things, but they're not salvation. It's not about following the law. There's benefits to following the law. That doesn't save you. It's not about attending church services correctly. There's benefits. That's not salvation. It's not about how much you study the Word. There's an advantage there. It's a good thing to do. That doesn't save you. These are all points that Paul is going on and on throughout Romans, trying to stress. But he's doing it much more from the logical debate. These are my proof texts. These are my debate points. I'm going to define the terms. And sometimes you get lost. You don't see how simple this is, what he's trying to say. It's about faith. The end. Everything else is there. These are all good things. You should fellowship. You should study the Word. You should attempt to do these things. Those are all great. Those don't save you. Faith saves you. What does Naaman do that makes him the example that Jesus uses? He confessed with his mouth, believed in his heart. That was it. People around him could hear him announce who God is. In fact, I love this little bit, and his name isn't used, so this is more in my head than straight from Scripture. The very next chapter, Syria attacks Jerusalem. They send their armies in, and they get defeated. And they get defeated, and they get defeated, for some reason, Israel seems to know exactly where their army is all the time, knows what their plans are. They come over a hill, and Israel's all lined up waiting on them. The king gets furious. What's going on? Why do they always know? Is there a traitor? Is someone telling them? And it doesn't name him, but someone steps up, one of his leaders, and says, hey, king, Israel has a God that knows everything all the time. It doesn't matter if you come up with these plans in your sleep. He tells Israel through a prophet. And so that's how Israel knows. And it doesn't name him, but I imagine that's Naaman to me. And then after he confesses, he believes in his heart. He didn't just take the knowledge and sit on it. I need to make some changes. I shouldn't worship these gods. I need to worship the right God. I need to make some changes in my life. This is the simplicity of faith. It's not bound up in rules. It's not a detailed checklist. It's not you have to do X, Y, Z or you're not in. Or you took the first step and you're in, but if you don't do X, Y, Z, then you're out again. You couldn't earn it to get in. You can't mess it up to get out. This is all that walking in the Spirit language in Romans 8. This is what it looks like in application. It is just about believing loyalty. It's just about that moment of faith where moment by moment, am I doing this because of God? Does what I'm doing line up with God, or is this just because of me? Am I just following my own flesh? Am I just seeking my own? So I'm going to wrap up really quickly. As I was putting this together, I had the story, I had the point. I was trying to figure out, when your sermon is about how simple faith is, how do you give some kind of challenge or an application to that? Like, how do you tell people what to do? And the more I thought about it, the more confused I got. Because I started thinking, well, I'm in a room with people who have been Christian all their life, who live holy lives, who pursue God, who seem to do everything right. You know, they're further along in this walk than I am, possibly. And then in the same room, 10 feet away, is someone who just converted. And they're eager, but they don't know that much. Or even worse, maybe somebody who isn't converted, and they're here and they're listening and they're debating in themselves. You know, they're trying to go through the points and what do I do? How do you give one application about faith that means something to each of them? So I found an answer, and it's great. To give it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our family and homeschooling, something we went through. When we started homeschooling, you take on the curriculum, and it's a lot of responsibility, and you get stressed. I just took on the responsibility of everything my kid is going to know. I have to get this right, or they're going to be idiots. And it's a lot of stress. And I don't think she'll mind me telling you, Patty, that first year, was so gung-ho. She had pulled from probably 10 different curriculums, and she had worksheets all over the place, and it was awesome. But it was an awesome amount of work. And there was no way they could get through it day by day or get through it week by week. And it was all good stuff. It was all stuff you want your kids to know, want your kids to do, but it's too much too fast. So after a little while, we got sane and started to back off before the kids rebelled. And we learned a saying that has really helped and really stuck with us. It's become a saying that our little homeschool group uses, because this is a common thing. All the people, the new parents that come to the homeschool group, they all go through this. Where's the line? How do I push my kids? What's too far? They aren't getting this. You know, how much do I put in front of them? So the rule is fairly simple. What you're comfortable with plus one. You just apply that wherever they're at. You know, if it's a writing thing, well, can your kid write? He's never written anything more than a sentence. Maybe don't hand him a 5-paragraph essay and say we need it tomorrow. Where he's at, he's written sentences. Okay, how about we just outline this? A sentence or two for each paragraph, just so you know the big picture. And then you do that a couple times till you're comfortable. You move on to the next step. Now let's fill out a paragraph. Let's write more. Apply that to our faith. I don't know each of your situations. You do. You know where you're at. You know what your struggles are. You know what you're doing good at. You know what your spiritual goals are. They're all good. Like that new Christian. Lots of new Christians jump into Christianity and struggle that same way. There's so many things. I have to read the Bible. I have to know all the answers. I have to do this. It's all good stuff. You don't have to do it by next Tuesday. Where you're at, what's the next step? So that's my challenge for each of us. Spiritually, you know your life. You know where you're at. Faith is really simple. Faith is very, very simple. Simpler than we usually give it credit for. Look at your life. Where am I at? What should I be doing next? What's my next step? Sometimes they're easier than you think. Sometimes you make a change, you adjust quickly. Oh, that was easy. You're able to just move it into part of your life. You integrate that part of your knowledge, and you keep going. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes you hit a wall, and it takes you months. I really want to work on this. And I'm not saying that we're doing this apart from God. We're not working on our own salvation. There's going to be a lot of, God, I am struggling with this. I need your help. I don't know where to go from here. God, I really want to work on this. I know this is what you want, but I don't know how to do it. Help me. But step by step, that's what spiritual growth is. Trying to grow more tomorrow than you were at today. And so that's my challenge for us all. As I wrap up, if the band wants to come up, one final suggestion: if you're stuck on what that next step is, I have found God very reliable in answering one specific prayer. God, what do you want me to change next? You might be surprised at how quickly you find the answer in your head. Of course, if you find that the answer is, I need you to commit to me, there's commit cards in the back of the seats in front of you. If you want to come forward, we would love to help you with the next steps. As the band gets ready, we'll have a moment.